Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 27th, 2025, and Barcelona have issued an official statement in regards to today's hiccup with the Vissel Kobe match. Also, it's reported that Hansi Flick could intervene in the voting for the captaincy for the upcoming season. And finally, Barcelona are open to selling Jan Virgili. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin this video with the great news that today Barcelona began their preseason with a win over Vissel Kobe 1-3 with goals of Eric Garcia, Jan Virgili, Barcelona's newest signing, and of course Dro, one of the most promising players currently in the academy. And even though I wanted to do a post-match analysis like I usually do after Barcelona matches are over, I was unable to do so because I tried to watch the match through Barcelona's Barca One app, and guess what? The app crashed, the website crashed, and it seemed like I wasn't the only one facing this problem. In fact, I texted all my friends and they were like, bro, I can't log in. I was getting like all these messages, I can't log in. And well, it seems that Barcelona fans all around the world could not log in. The website completely crashed. The server completely crashed. So people were left without being able to watch the match. And then Barcelona actually ended up airing the match on their YouTube channel, but only the second half. The second half live. Now the full match is available on Barcelona's YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it, you can. And while this is the statement that Barcelona issued in regards to what happened today with the Vissel Kobe match, FC Barcelona streaming platforms received an attack of large proportions from various pages attempting to capture the live feed of the preseason game against Vissel Kobe. As a result of the avalanche of requests, the system engaged the pertinent security mechanisms, which then affected the broadcast on the website and the Culés app. Straight away, the decision was taken to offer the game free on the club's YouTube platform to guarantee the broadcast of the game. The club apologizes for the inconveniences caused and will be in contact with all the people affected. Now, of course, this affects millions of people who actually paid for the premium subscriptions and were unable to watch the match because the server ended up crashing. Of course, Barcelona blaming it on, websites, piracy websites who attempted to hack the stream in order to be able to broadcast it for free. I don't think that's a legit excuse because, every platform, whether it be ESPN, DAZN, whatever platform, they all face the same threat of piracy from other websites trying to attack them. But of course, they set up proper security measures to prevent those hacking, which is something that Barcelona should have done since they were planning to, stream the match. So not really an excuse, but I guess we appreciate the apology because that's new. Every time Laporta or someone on the board messes up, what we get is more and more excuses. Here, at least, we're getting an apology. So I guess I'll take it. Thank you, FC Barcelona, for apologizing. But nonetheless, I think you should have been able to set up better security measures than having your whole servers just crash because there's piracy attempts to stream live the feed, which, again, every platform faces that threat. But nonetheless, Barcelona won against Vissel Kobe. I did watch the highlights. Again, Jan Virgili, our newest signing, scoring one hell of a goal. So did Dro, one of Barcelona's most promising players currently in the academy. And Hansi Flick was, of course, happy with Barcelona's performance. And this is what the German coach had to say. It was a very good match. We were very good in the first 30 minutes. But in the last 15 minutes of the first half, we lost control. In the second half, we were very good again. We have a lot of players from La Masia. Joffre and Dro did very well, and also in training. The objective is for everyone to play 45 minutes. So Flick, very happy with the performance of the team. Again, I cannot really judge because I did not watch the match. I only watched the highlights. But from the little bit of I got to see from the highlights, it looked like the first half was actually not as good as the second half, even though the first half was the starting players. We saw Rafinha, Lamine, Ferran, etc. But then the second half, we saw a completely new squad, which is, of course, very typical, very normal for the preseason. We saw the debut of Marcus Rashford, Jan Virgili, Joan Garcia played in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. But I think based on the highlights, and again, I didn't watch this match, so you can take my opinion with a grain of salt. But based on the highlights that I did watch, it looked like the second half was actually better than the first half, even though the first half were the starters and the second half were actually a lot of the academy players and the new signings. But of course, this is a preseason match. You can't really fully judge the team's performance. After all, they had just landed in Japan 24 hours before the match. They were still jet lagged. They only had one training session. It was hot as hell. It was humid. Again, it's preseason, so the team obviously is not going to play with the same intensity as they were an official match. It's against a much, much weaker opponent, so you can't really fully judge the team's performance. But nonetheless, based on the highlights, I saw a much better second half than the first one. Now, Hansi Flick did have some words about Jan Virgili, Barcelona's newest signing, who did score one hell of a goal. And this is what he said. Now, he was asked, is Jan Virgili going to be a first-team player? Because, of course, he technically is a Barca Athletic player. And this is what Flick had to say. It depends on him when he plays well like today. You see it in training, like Joan Garcia, Rashford. He might have a week less training with the ball, but I'm happy with what I'm seeing. The youngsters have to improve. It is not easy for us this season, but like the last season, we keep working hard to win titles. It's not easy, but we want to keep going like this. And then Flick, of course, emphasizing the importance of having all the youngsters. I'm very happy to have all the young players, Dro, Jofre Torrens, Rooney, also Tony and Guille, who I already knew from the previous tour. So it's all going to be up to Jan Virgili. Again, he's a Barca Athletic signing, but of course, if he does great during the preseason, he could end up staying with the first team, or he could always go back down to Barca Athletic and trade with the first team. But so far, it's reported that Jan Virgili has been impressing. So that, of course, is good news for the 19-year-old right winger. Now, on to the next bit of news, because it's reported that Hansi Flick could intervene in the captaincy vote for the upcoming season. Now, as I reported in a previous video, Barcelona are currently considering stripping the captaincy away from Mark ter Stegen, because, of course, there's currently a lot of tension between the club and the player, because, of course, the whole situation with Barcelona wanted to push him out, but then he got injured. He didn't want to go through surgery. Barcelona wanted him to go through surgery. He eventually decides to go through surgery, but then announces that he's going through surgery before the club is. Anyways, there's a whole big mess there. Tensions are high. Barcelona are not talking to ter Stegen. Ter Stegen is not talking to them. And that, of course, is a big problem because, well, one of the jobs of the captain is to be a liaison between the players and the club. And if ter Stegen has no communications with the club, that kind of takes away from one of the biggest jobs of being a captain. So Barcelona considering taking the captaincy away from Barcelona. But of course, in Barcelona, the captaincy is based on voting, where the locker room votes for who will the captains be. And it's reported that Barcelona could be voting, or the locker room could be voting, on all four captains. Usually the same captains from the previous season kind of like get renewed and become captains the next season. If someone leaves, then the locker room votes on who to replace it. But they're talking about Barcelona maybe having fresh election in the locker room for all four captains, where they would just start from scratch, and they're not ruling out Flick making his own suggestions, saying, look, this, as a coach, this is who I think should be voted for. These are my choices. But of course, at the end of the day, it will be up to the players. Now, we will end today's video with the news that Barcelona are considering offloading Jan Virgili. That the 19-year-old left winger made a lot of splash last season with Juvenil A, or the Barcelona under-19 youth team. He also made a splash with the Spanish national team, the under-19, if I'm not mistaken, Spanish national team. And there was a lot of hope set on Jan Virgili during this preseason, but after training for an entire week under Flick, Flick decided that he was not ready yet to be a first-team player, so he sent him back down to Barca Athletic. And it seems like this might have not sat fully well with Jan Virgili, because now Mallorca have approached Barcelona. They're interested in signing him. And it's reported that Jan Virgili is actually open to making a move to Mallorca to join another Barcelona player who just joined them, which is, of course, Pablo Torre. Now, the player, or Jan Virgili, is okay with making a move to Mallorca. Barcelona are okay with him making the move. So now Barcelona are trying to figure out a formula for this transfer. And it's reported that Barcelona would rather offload him, because as you've seen lately under Deco is not too big of a fan of loans anymore. He's more in favor of, offloading a player but retaining a percentage of any future sales plus a buyback clause. That's kind of what happened with Pablo Torre. So now Barcelona are studying, kind of following the same formula with Jan Virgili, where they would offload him on a permanent transfer, but would still retain a buyback clause in case he does, end up exploding. They can buy him back, or a future or a percentage of any future sales. Now, of course, I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. What do you think about Barcelona being open to offloading Virgili? Let me know down below in the comment section. Anyways, that is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.